Want to get to financial freedom and do off-market deals? Well, how many leads does it take to equal a deal? We're going to cover that today. We're going to deep dive into our actual numbers of our business at Offer Now Idaho. I got Corey, my COO, with me.
Let's go.
All right. So we're going to go through our actuals of 2024 and 2023 to see just how many leads it takes to equal one deal, one appointment. We got that all covered for you today. Okay, Corey, what is the concept behind how many leads I need to equal a deal?
Yeah, it just gives you context on the amount of effort and maybe the amount of money you need to spend, because you can't talk to one person unless you're really lucky and get one deal. It just never happens.
Perfect. So let's jump right into it. Let's get into it. How many outbound leads for us in 2024 does it take to equal one deal?
In 2024, it's right now at 143 leads. Now, this is somebody who has raised their hand and said, yes, I want to have an interest in selling. And from there, we're qualifying that, yeah, they have a timeline that's within the next year.
You said 143?
143, yeah.
Leads equals one deal.
Right now in 2024 for us.
Okay, that's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. That's a lot of conversations you have to have.
What was it in 2023?
Yeah, so 2023, now think about this, that some of these leads may have just come into the system, was down at 94. So that was 94 all of 2023 outbound, meaning texting, cold calling, maybe a driving for dollars lead that converted to a contract.
Okay, how about inbound?
Yeah, so this is where you see a big change. So in 2024, our inbounds right now are 1 in 18. So 18 leads converted to one contract.
Okay, and what was it in 2023?
15. Yeah,
15. So let's first talk, why the change? What in the world changed from 2023 to 24? It looks like we're getting a lot worse, right?
Yeah, it might.
Okay.
Yet. Part of the reason is, how do you qualify a lead? So we opened up the funnel a little bit because we had more staff and more ability to call on these leads and said, yeah, we're going to take people who maybe had told us, yeah, I would consider selling in the next year as opposed to maybe the next 3 months, 6 months, and made sure that we're getting in front of as more people when and if possible.
We are meeting with more people, which equals more deals, but it's less efficient, right? Because now we are just anybody that raises their hand and says, I want to sell, we're going to meet with that. Whereas before, it was they needed to sell within 90 days. They needed to have some inherent motivation, right? The lead criteria was a lot more strict because we just couldn't handle all the leads that we were getting.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
How about on the inbound side? Why is it more?
Yeah, so the biggest difference between these two is probably just time. Like, we right now are just getting leads in that we've yet to convert. These leads have been nurtured. They've had follow-ups, so we've had a chance to actually convert these over to contracts.
Right. So that's important to distinguish. This is 12 months. 2024, we're only six months
in,
through.
and we're getting leads in today that count into that number.
Yeah. How about on the appointment side? So that's to equal one deal. How about how many appointments does it take for us to equal one deal?
Yeah, so right now, if we're talking just appointments, and let's go on the outbound side first. So in between these two, and they're actually the same right now, it's 12. It's 12 appointments from outbound leads for us equate to one deal. Now you might say that's a lot of appointments to go on, and partly it's because we changed this. We changed who we would consider to be a lead, and we're trying to get out and go on as many appointments as possible. So right now it's 12 to one contract.
So how many times, if we're getting one contract out of 12 appointments on an outbound lead, how many times are we getting rejected?
11.
11 out of 12 times we're getting rejected.
Yeah.
That's not very good.
No, it's not.
Okay, but the numbers still make sense. I think we're going to get into that here in a second on the cost per lead and the difference. How about on inbound? How many appointments to equal one deal?
Yeah, and these are actually running very consistent between 23 and 24, 5. So 1 out of every 5 appointments we go on creates a deal.
So this was you're saying 12 appointments in 2024?
It's actually similar between the two.
Okay, that is very interesting, right? Okay, so we have increase the number of leads to equal a deal, but still we're meeting with roughly the same amount of people to get a deal. Isn't that interesting? So why would that be?
Yeah, it just means that the qualifying criteria here is similar. So we're talking to more people, but we're using the same qualifying criteria to set an appointment.
Okay, so if our funnel before, let's say in 2023, looks something like this, right? Deal. Leads at the top. Deal. Okay? So you're saying this part is our appointment shoot right here.
Yep.
Looks about the same in 2024 Only now our funnel for leads is much wider.
Yep, that's
Right?
exactly it.
Okay. Right, okay. So we are shoving way more leads into this funnel, but we're getting roughly the same amount of appointment setting criteria, and I should actually, yeah, this is wider still, right? Like, but it's the same.
So
we're getting more deals.
So yeah, the bigger thing is because we're shoving more in at the top, we are still getting more out at the bottom.
Right, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
But are we getting laminar flow, terminal?
Oh yeah.
Okay, the engineer.
It's a lot of turbulent flow in there.
Nice. So let's get into cost per lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't very good compared to this. Why wouldn't we just do way more of these?
Dollar bills.
Okay,
that's the biggest
dollar
reason.
bills.
Yeah. So our deals are let's just say that they're the same size across the board.
Yeah.
Between inbound and outbound. Then it comes back to how much can you actually spend to make the deals work.
Okay.
And this is the big difference between inbound and outbound sources.
Okay, so what is our very rough cost per lead on these?
Yeah, depending on the lead source, it's somewhere between about $25 and $40 a lead.
Okay, so let's say it's $30 a lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about on the inbound side? What's our rough cost per lead?
Yeah, that's over 300.
Okay. Wow. So 10x.
Yeah, so 10 times as much to get that. And so then when we look at this, also there's diminishing returns on this because it depends on how much you spend and the market you spend and where you put your dollars in.
Right. So what you mean by that is we can't just say, why wouldn't we just spend 100 times more money on inbound because we're just getting so many contracts? No, there's only a certain amount that you can spend on inbound to still give you the same result. Otherwise, your cost per lead is going to go to like $600.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
And so now if you take and double this again, now you're 20 times more expensive than your outbound cost per lead. Really, the big thing is where do you start?
Right. Where do you start? Yeah, I think most people, obviously, low barrier to entry here, right? Like this is going to cost you your time, outbound channels, but not your money. Your well-earned, your hard-fought money, okay? Most of us are not just sitting on a pile of money when we start, so we cannot afford these, right? Outbound, low barrier to entry, low cost, high time, great way to learn your sales skills. Inbound, expensive, high opportunity cost. If you screw up a phone call, it might be a few $1,000s or at least bare minimum $300, depending on how many you mess up, right? So that's where you need to start. Is you need to start outbound. Our favorite channels are for outbound are texting and cold calling.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that for a second, we're right now at 5 appointments to 1 contract.
Yep.
If you haven't developed these skills and that goes to double and now it's 10 appointments per 1 contract, that $1,500 just turns into $3,000 real quick.
Yeah.
And then did you even negotiate as good of a deal yet? Probably not.
Yeah. So when you're saying $1,500, you're saying our cost per contract is this times this.
Yes.
Okay, right. Well, it's actually this.
Well, this times that. Yeah. Much higher.
Yeah. So guys, make sure you like and subscribe if you got value from this video. Comment below what your stats are. Any questions you guys have, happy to help you out wherever you are in your journey. I hope this gives you some insight about roughly where you need to be on number of leads to get a deal and number of appointments to get a deal at scale. When you're first starting out, you're going to do way better than this. Why? Because you're the person prospecting, you're the person closing the deals, you're the person that's doing all the negotiation with the seller. You will do better, but guess what? When you hire on team members and staff, you're going to get slightly less efficient because it's not you, right? But I don't know about you guys. I don't want to run a business where I wear every single hat. You're going to have to hire and train team members to accomplish what you want to.